Hello everyone, myself Raghu S, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. As we are discussing about Module 1, in this class we will discussing about basic thermodynamics. So, thermodynamics, the word thermodynamics is derived from two Greek words, thermo and dynamics. Thermo means heat, dynamic means power. So therefore, thermodynamics is nothing but power of heat or strength of heat. Thermodynamics is this branch of engineering which deals with conversion of heat into work and work into heat. Say example, conversion of heat into work, IC engine, internal combustion engine, where heat energy get converted into work. And refrigeration, okay, there work is converted into heat. Thermodynamics is branch of engineering which deals with conversion of heat into work and work into heat. So applications, thermodynamic applications, in domestic applications we can find like air conditioning, refrigerator, pressure cooker, pump. So these are all the domestic applications of thermodynamics. And in case of industrial applications like design of IC engines, steam power plant and gas turbines, jet engines. So these are all the applications of thermodynamics. So in this class we will discuss the laws of thermodynamics. So before discussing the laws of thermodynamics, first we should familiar with some basic terms related to thermodynamics. The basic terms like thermodynamic system, thermodynamic process, thermodynamic cycle, thermodynamic equilibrium. Now we will discuss one by one. So thermodynamic system nothing but, so a specific portion on which our attention is focused for thermodynamic study is called as thermodynamic system. Okay, here, so this is the specific portion, okay, on which our attention is focused for study, for thermodynamic study is called as thermodynamic system. Next, coming for boundary. So boundary nothing but, so the real or imaginary surface which surrounds the system is called as boundary. Next one, surroundings. The region outside the system is called as surroundings. So thermodynamic system means the specific portion on which our attention is focused for the thermodynamic study is called as thermodynamic system. Surrounding means the region outside the system is called as surrounding. Boundary means the real or imaginary surface which surrounds the system is called as boundary. Next, coming for, according to mass and energy transfer between system and surrounding. Okay, here in case of thermodynamic system, usually mass interaction takes place and energy interaction takes place. Now, according to mass and energy transfer or interaction between system and surrounding, thermodynamic system is classified into three types: open system, closed system and isolated system. Open system means, okay, here in case of open system, so both mass and energy crosses the boundary of the system. Both mass and energy crosses the boundary of the system. So this is the open system. Okay, here mass enters into the system and leaves the system. Energy enters into the system and leaves the system. So this is the example for, so this is the definition for open system. Example, bike engine and so water pump. So these are all the example for open system. In case of closed system, so closed system only energy interaction takes place. Only energy interaction takes place. There is no mass interaction. Okay, closed system, it has fixed mass. Only energy interaction takes place. So in case of closed system, energy enters into the system and leaves the system. So this is the closed system. Okay, here it has fixed mass. Next, in case of isolated system, so neither the mass or nor the energy crosses the boundary of the system. Okay, here it has fixed energy and mass. So this is the isolated system where there is no mass and energy interaction takes place. Okay, here there is no mass interaction takes place and there is no energy interaction takes place. So this is isolated system. Example for isolated system, so we can give thermos flask. So that's the example for isolated system. So closed system example, so gas is taken in a piston and cylinder arrangement. So this is the example for closed system. Okay, here it has fixed amount of gas but here energy interaction takes place. That is, okay, here we can supply heat energy and here work is done by gas. So this is the example for closed system. So according to the mass and energy transfer between system and surrounding, we have three systems: open system, closed system, isolated system. In case of open system, both mass and energy interaction takes place. In case of closed system, only energy interaction takes place, there is no mass interaction, therefore it has fixed mass. In case of isolated system, neither the mass nor energy interaction crosses the boundary of the system. So this is all about thermodynamic system. Next, coming for thermodynamic state. So this is the condition of the system at a particular moment is called as thermodynamic state. The condition of system at a particular moment is called as thermodynamic state. So thermodynamic state is defined as the condition of a system at a particular moment is called as thermodynamic state. Okay, here this is called state 1 and okay, here state 2. Okay, here also the condition will be changed. So this is about thermodynamic state. So the next one, so thermodynamic process. So when the system undergoes changes from one equilibrium state to another equilibrium state, then it is called as thermodynamic process. Okay, here, so this is state 1 and state 2. Say this one is temperature, say example 10 degrees centigrade. Now observe this one. Okay, here system undergoes changes from state 1 to state 2. Okay, here we have fixed mass. Okay, here temperature 20 degrees centigrade. In this state 2 we have 10 degrees centigrade. Okay, in that state 1 volume 1.5 meter cube. Okay, here volume 2.5 meter cube. That means okay, here the system undergoes changes from one equilibrium state to another equilibrium state. Okay, here this changes is called as thermodynamic process. So okay, here it can be represented on PV diagram. Example, in case PV diagram, okay, here system undergoes changes from one state to another state. Okay, here this phenomenon is called as thermodynamic process. Next, coming for thermodynamic cycle. Thermodynamic cycle, it consists of two process or more than two process in which the starting point of first process and the ending point of last process is same. Say okay, here one more example. Okay, here, so this is the thermodynamic process 1 and this is thermodynamic process 2 and this is the thermodynamic process 3 and this is thermodynamic process 4. Okay, here we have more than two process. Okay, here the starting point of first process, this is the starting point of first process and the ending point of last process is same. So this is called as thermodynamic cycle. And here in case of thermodynamic process, we have isochoric process, isobaric process, isothermal process and adiabatic process. So these are all the different types of thermodynamic process. In case of isochoric process, volume remains constant. Next, in case of isobaric process, pressure remains constant. In case of isothermal process, temperature remains constant. And in case of adiabatic process, so there is no heat transfer between system and surrounding. So these are all the different types of thermodynamic process. So once again I will explain. So thermodynamic state nothing but the condition of a system at a particular moment is called a thermodynamic state. Thermodynamic process means when the system undergoes changes from one equilibrium state to another equilibrium state, this changes is called as a thermodynamic process. Cycle means thermodynamic process. Okay, thermodynamic cycle means okay, here we have more than two processes in which the starting point of first process and ending point of last process is same. So this is about thermodynamic cycle. Next, coming for thermodynamic equilibrium. So thermodynamic equilibrium. So the system is said to be in thermodynamical equilibrium. It should satisfy the three conditions. It should be mechanical equilibrium, it should be chemical equilibrium and it should be thermal equilibrium. The system is said to be in thermodynamic equilibrium. So when it should satisfy these three equilibrium conditions. Then what do you mean by mechanical equilibrium? What do you mean by chemical equilibrium? Then what do you mean by thermal equilibrium? So mechanical equilibrium. The system is said to be in mechanical equilibrium when there is no unbalanced force within the system and also between system and surrounding. So when there is no unbalanced force within the system and also between system and surrounding, then the system is said to be in mechanical equilibrium. Next, chemical equilibrium. The system is said to be in chemical equilibrium when there is no chemical reaction within the system. When there is no chemical reaction within the system is called as chemical equilibrium. Then thermal equilibrium. the system is said to be in thermal equilibrium when there is no temperature difference within the system and also between system and surrounding. Okay, here there should not be temperature difference between surrounding and system. Then the system is said to be in thermal equilibrium. When the system satisfies these three equilibrium conditions, then the system is said to be in thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay, so mechanical equilibrium means there is no unbalanced force. Chemical equilibrium means there is no chemical reaction. Thermal equilibrium means there is no temperature difference. So this is about thermodynamic equilibrium. So these are all the basic concepts related to thermodynamics. Okay, here we have so far discussed thermodynamic definition, applications of thermodynamics, then the thermodynamic system, surrounding and boundary, then based on the energy and mass interaction we have discussed the three types of system: open system, closed system, isolated system, and here we have discussed some few terms like thermodynamic state, thermodynamic process and thermodynamic cycle, and last one we have discussed the thermodynamic equilibrium. So next we will discuss the laws of thermodynamics. Okay, here in the syllabus we have zeroth law of thermodynamics, first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics and third law of thermodynamics. So first let us discuss the zeroth law of thermodynamics. Zeroth law of thermodynamics states that if two systems are thermally equilibrium with third system, then these two systems are thermally equilibrium with each other. So this is the statement of zeroth law of thermodynamics. If two systems are thermally equilibrium, okay, here system A and system B are thermally equilibrium with system C, then these two systems are thermally equilibrium with each other. This is the statement. Okay, here I have considered the three systems: system A, system B and system C at three different temperature, TA, TB and TC. Say if TA which is equal to TC and if TB which is equal to TC, then according to zeroth law of thermodynamics, TA should be equal to TB. If temperature TA is equals to TC, if temperature TB equals to TC, then according to zeroth law, temperature TA should be equal to temperature TB. That means these two systems are thermally equilibrium with each other. Next one, first law of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics states that, so okay, here the first law of thermodynamics is defined for cyclic process and non-cyclic process. So cyclic process means, okay, here, so this is the cyclic process. The starting point of first process and ending point of last process is same. So for cyclic process, thermodynamic, so first law of thermodynamics states that the cyclic integral of heat is equal to cyclic integral of work. For cyclic process, for a complete process, the cyclic integral of heat equals to cyclic integral of work. So for this process, okay, here this equation is applicable for cyclic process. Next, coming for non-cyclic process. For non-cyclic process means, okay, here, so this is the non-cyclic process P and B. So this is non-cyclic process. So thermodynamic first law of thermodynamics for non-cyclic process. For this process, okay, here consider a gas in a piston cylinder arrangement. Okay, here when the heat energy is supplied to the gas, okay, here some amount of work is done by the system. So let Q is the heat energy and U is the internal energy of the system and W is the work done by the system. Now the first law of thermodynamics for non-cyclic process states that, so the difference between net heat transfer and net work transfer is equal to the internal energy of the system, and it can be written as the difference between heat transfer, net heat transfer and net work transfer is equal to the internal energy of the system. Say example, if you are supplying 10 joule of heat to the system, and so let 5 joule of work is done by the system. The remaining 5 joule is the internal energy of the system. So this is the first law of thermodynamics for non-cyclic process. For non-cyclic process, the difference between the net heat transfer and work transfer. So the net heat transfer and work transfer which is equal to the internal energy of the system. So this is for non-cyclic process. For cyclic process, the integral, the summation, the cyclic integral of heat. So whatever the heat supplied to the system, which is equal to the work done by this cyclic integral of work. So this is the first law of thermodynamics. So the next, second law of thermodynamics. So before discussing the second law of thermodynamics, first let us discuss the concept of heat engine and heat pump. So this diagram shows heat engine and this diagram shows heat pump. So heat engine, it is a device which converts heat energy into mechanical work. Whereas heat pump transfers the heat from a system which is at a lower temperature to a system which is at a higher temperature. Now, so heat engine, parts of heat engine, heat consists of high temperature reservoir called as source, low temperature reservoir called as sink. Okay, here we have two components, high temperature reservoir called as heat source, low temperature reservoir called as sink. Okay, here T1 is greater than T2. So this is the heat engine. Heat engine takes the heat energy from high temperature reservoir and converts the part of the heat energy into mechanical work, and they rejects the remaining part of heat energy into the heat sinks. Say example, here we have 100 joule of heat energy. Heat engine takes 100 joule of heat energy and converts the part of the heat energy into mechanical work, that is only 50 joule. So, here this heat engine converts only part of the heat energy, means it converts 50 joule of heat energy into 50 joule of mechanical work. So, the remaining heat energy is 50 joule. So, this 50 joule is rejected to the sink. It must be rejected. Now, so this is about heat engine. Now, let us come for efficiency. So, efficiency is nothing but ratio of output divided by input. Okay, here work is the output. Output divided by, so Q1 is the input. Okay, here work output divided by, so heat energy input. So remember the first law of thermodynamics for cyclic process. For cyclic process, cyclic integral of work which is equal to cyclic integral of heat. That is, so the net work transfer, that is our net heat transfer, which is equal to net work transfer. Therefore, W which is equal to Q. So therefore, okay, here we have, so W, so which is equal to, so 1, or so in terms of efficiency, okay, here 100% efficiency. So practically, which is not at all possible. Okay, here some part of the heat energy must be rejected to the heat sink. So 100% of efficiency, so it is not at all possible. Therefore, for an engine, so there is always limits for its efficiency. Now come for heat pump. So before discussing about heat pump, okay, so have you heard about water pump? Okay, water pump, what is the function of water pump? Say example, okay, here, so we have ground floor and top floor. So in order to pump the water from ground floor to top floor, so we need water pump. Next, to send the water from top floor to ground floor, so we do not require any device. So water flows naturally. But to supply the water from ground floor to top floor, we need a pump. So that is water pump. So we need water pump. Similarly, so heat energy, to supply heat energy from low temperature system to high temperature system, we need a device called as heat pump. Suppose if heat flows from high temperature system to low temperature system, we do not require any intermediate device. Heat also which flows naturally. Heat always flows naturally from high temperature system to low temperature system. Say example, so okay, here we have 50 degree centigrade system and here we have 10 degree centigrade system. Okay, here heat flows naturally from 50 degree centigrade system to 10 degree centigrade system. Now, to supply heat from 10 degree centigrade system to 50 degree centigrade system, we need a device called as heat pump. So heat will never flow from low temperature system to high temperature system naturally. To supply heat from low temperature system to high temperature system, we need a device called as heat pump to pump the heat into a system. So heat pumps are commonly used to heat for heating purpose. Now, to supply the heat from low temperature system to high temperature system. Okay, here we are using heat pump. This heat pump takes external work from the surrounding. Without any external work, heat pump will not work. Now, the coefficient of performance or efficiency of performance of an heat pump is given by output. Okay, here, so this is the output, amount of heat removed from the heat sink to the work input. Assume, suppose if work is equal to 0, assume if work is equal to 0, then COP it becomes infinity. If work is equal to 0, suppose if you supply 0 amount of work, then COP becomes infinity, which is not at all possible. So therefore, we are supposed to supply work input to the heat pump to transfer the heat from low temperature system to high temperature system. So this is all about introduction of heat engine and heat pump. Now let us discuss the second law of thermodynamics, that is the first one, Kelvin-Planck statement. According to this Kelvin-Planck statement applicable for heat engine, this Clausius statement is applicable for heat pump. Now first let us discuss the Kelvin-Planck statement. According to this statement or according to this law, it is impossible to construct an heat engine that operates on a cycle whose sole purpose is to convert all heat energy into equivalent mechanical work, so without any heat rejection. So this is about the statement. So Kelvin-Planck statement, it states that, okay, here, so and it is impossible to construct an heat engine that operates on a cycle whose sole purpose, one and only purpose, whose sole purpose is to convert all heat energy into mechanical work. That means, okay, here we have an heat engine. Okay, here we have an heat engine. It is impossible to construct this kind of engine where, okay, here I am supplying 100 joule of work. Okay, here heat engine takes 100 joule of heat and converts into 100 joule of work. So got this point. Okay, here heat engine takes 100 joule of heat and they convert the all heat energy into mechanical work, means 100 joule of heat which is equal to 100 joule of work. So this kind of engine is difficult to construct, or it is impossible to construct, because here we have 100% of efficiency. It is impossible to construct. So this is the possible heat engine and this is the impossible heat engine which violates the Kelvin-Planck statement. So that means, okay, here we need heat C. Okay, here heat rejection must be taken place. Heat rejection must be taken place. Without any heat rejection, so it is impossible to construct. So this construct an heat engine which converts all heat energy into equivalent amount of mechanical work. Therefore, okay, here heat energy must be rejected. Therefore, okay, here I am supplying 50 joule of heat energy. So next here, so out of 50 joule, so 50 joule of heat energy get converted into mechanical work. Remaining heat energy must be rejected. It must be rejected. So it cannot be converted all heat energy into all mechanical work. That's all. So which is impossible because it converts all heat energy into all mechanical work. So it's equivalent amount of mechanical work. Equivalent amount of mechanical work, which is not at all possible. Okay, here we have 100% of efficiency, which is not at all possible. For every engine, there is a limit for its efficiency. Now, coming for Clausius statement. According to this statement, it is impossible to construct an heat pump that operates on a cycle which to transfer heat from low temperature system to high temperature system. That means, okay, here it is impossible to construct an heat pump which to transfer heat from low temperature system to high temperature system without any external agency. Therefore, external work must be supplied. So that means, okay, here to transfer heat, okay, here I am supplying to transfer heat from low temperature sink to high temperature source, we need a heat pump. And that should take external work. So without any external work, so it will not supply the heat. It will not pump the heat from low temperature system to high temperature system. So therefore, work must be necessary, which violates the Clausius statement because here the work is zero. I am not at all supplying any work to the system. Therefore, it will not transfer heat from low temperature system to high temperature system. But here, so this system obeys the Clausius statement, because okay, here I am supplying external work. Therefore, it is taking the external work. So by taking the external work, so it transfers the heat from low temperature system to high temperature system. So in order to transfer heat from low temperature system to high temperature system, we need any heat pump, and that heat pump, it should take external work. Without any external work, so it will not pump any heat from low temperature system to high temperature system. Okay, here this diagram, okay, which violates the Clausius statement, because okay, here I am supplying the zero work, okay, here which obeys the Clausius statement, okay, here because it is taking some part of the work, and so because of that work it transfers heat from low temperature system to high temperature system. So this is about Clausius statement, and this is about second law of thermodynamics. So next we discuss the concept of work and heat. So before discussing the thermodynamic definition of work, first let us discuss the mechanics definition of work. So mechanics definition of work means, so work done which is equal to force into distance. So that is work which is equal to F into L. So this is the mechanics definition of work. So the unit of work is Newton meter or joule. Now let us come to thermodynamic definition of work. So thermodynamic definition of work. If a work is done by the system, the total effect external to the system, or the sole effect external to the system, can be reduced to the raising of weight. So this is the thermodynamic definition of work. So this definition can be understood by this example. Okay, here I have considered battery, motor and fan. Okay, here battery and motor, it is considered as a system, and this is the system boundary, and this is the fan is the surrounding. Battery and motor, so total constitutes a system. So this is the system boundary, and this is the surrounding. Now okay, here battery supplies electrical energy, therefore motor runs the fan. Therefore okay, here we have this system, means motor interacts with surrounding, that is with the fan. Now according to mechanics, okay, here there is no work done because there is no displacement here. Okay, here according to mechanics, work done which is equal to force into displacement. But here according to mechanics, there is no work done by the system because there is no displacement. But according to thermodynamics, so the work is done by the system. According to thermodynamics, okay, here work is done by the system, but according to mechanics, there is no work since there is no displacement. Then how to prove? Okay, here, so this diagram is written as like this. Okay, here the surrounding means fan. Okay, here it is replaced with pulley and weight arrangement. Assume that, okay, here, so instead of fan, so we are having pulley and weight. This is the assumption. Instead of fan, we are having pulley and weight. Now this battery supplies electrical energy, therefore motor runs the pulley. Therefore now pulley, it raises the weight. Okay, so therefore this diagram is equivalent to this diagram. Now, so thermodynamic definition of work means, if the work is done by the system, the sole effect external to the surrounding, this is the sole effect external to the surround, so external to the system, external to the system can be reduced to the raising of weight, means the effect external to the system, this is the system. So this is the effect external to the system. If it is reduced to the raising of weight, then the work is done by the system. Okay, here this fan is replaced by pulley and weight arrangement. Therefore the pulley, it raises the weight. Therefore we have displacement. So therefore okay, here work is done by the system because the effect external to the system, this is the effect external to the system. So this could be reduced to the raising of weight. It is an assumption, that's all. This could be reduced to the raising of weight. If it is possible, then so the total effect, it could be reduced to the raising of weight, then the work is done by the system. Now let us go for sign convention. If work is done by the system, it is denoted by positive. If work is done on the system, it is denoted by negative. Okay, here work is done on the system. Okay, here work is done by the system. Okay, here the work is done by the system on the surrounding means fan. So this effect could be reduced to the raising of weight. If it is possible, then the work is done by the system. So this is the thermodynamic definition of work. So we have discussed the mechanics definition of work and thermodynamic definition of work. Now let us discuss the concept of heat. So what do you mean by heat? So heat is the energy transfer. So energy transfer which takes place from one system to another system by virtue means reason of temperature difference. Energy transfer which takes place from energy transfer takes place from one system to another system by virtue of temperature difference. It is called as heat energy. Now heat energy, it is represented by Q, and it is expressed in joule, kilojoule or megajoule. If the energy transfer takes place from one system to another system by the virtue of temperature difference or due to temperature difference, that energy transfer is called as heat transfer. If heat is added to the system, it's called as heat addition. If heat is transferred from the system, it's called as heat rejection. Okay, here heat addition takes place because heat is added to the system. Okay, here heat rejection takes place because heat is removed from the system. Sign convention we have. Okay, here if heat is added to the system, it is denoted by positive. If heat is removed from the system, it is denoted by negative. So this is the concept of heat and work. So we have relation between heat, work. So heat and work. So according to first law of thermodynamics, okay, here we have a statement. So okay, here Q which is equal to, so delta U, so plus W. The first law of thermodynamics which relates the heat and work. So Q is the heat transfer and W is the work done. So the relation between heat and work, it can be given by first law of thermodynamics. So this is the concept of heat and work. Now let us discuss the third law of thermodynamics. So before discussing the third law of thermodynamics, first let us discuss the concept of entropy. Concept of entropy, it is denoted by S. So what do you mean by entropy? Entropy is defined as measure of randomness or disorderness of a system. Entropy, it measures the randomness or disorderness of a system. Say example, so we know that three states of matter: solid, so liquid and gas. So which state of matter have high disorderness? Obviously gas state which have high disorderness compared to liquid. Liquid have high disorderness compared to solids. So gases have high disorderness compared to liquid. Liquids have high disorderness compared to solid. Now therefore entropy of gas always greater than entropy of liquid. Entropy of liquid greater than entropy of solid. Entropy means it measures the disorderness or randomness of a system. Okay, here I have considered solid, liquid and gas. Solid, it has minimum disorderness. Okay, here atoms or molecules are closely packed. So in case of liquid, it has high disorderness compared to solid. Gas, it has still high disorderness compared to liquid. Therefore, so gases have high disorder means high entropy. Liquid have high disorderness compared to solid. Therefore, liquid have high entropy compared to solid. So this is about entropy. The change in entropy, it is given by delta S represents the change in entropy, it is given by, so Q divided by T, where Q represents the heat transfer to the system or from the system and T is the temperature in Kelvin. So this is about the concept of entropy. So now let us discuss the third law of thermodynamics. Third law of thermodynamics states that the entropy of a perfect crystal at absolute zero temperature is exactly equal to 0. Means, so when the temperature approaches to 0, so the entropy is equal to 0. Okay, here consider a perfect crystal. without having any defect. Now, the entropy of perfect crystal at absolute 0 degree temperature is equal to 0. When the temperature is equal to 0, then the entropy is also equal to 0. So, this is the third law of thermodynamics. The best example, okay, here consider water. So, we know the water exists in 3 states. So, that is ice, so in liquid state as water, and in gaseous state as steam. So, already we have discussed gaseous state means we have high disorderness, means high entropy. Then water. So, water, okay, here compared to steam, okay, here we have less disorderness. And ice is the solid substance. So, okay, therefore, okay, here we have disorderness very minimum. Suppose if ice temperature is at exactly 0 degree, now the entropy is also equal to 0. The entropy of perfect crystal at absolute 0 temperature. Suppose if ice is taken at absolute 0 temperature, then if you measure its entropy, that entropy is equal to 0. The entropy of a perfect crystal at absolute 0 temperature is equal to 0. So, this is the third law of thermodynamics. Thank you.